Saudi-Yemeni War 1948 Arab-Israeli War North Yemen Civil War NDF Rebellion Yemenite War of 1979 1994 Civil War in Yemen Hanish Islands Conflict Shia insurgency in Yemen South Yemen insurgency 2011 Yemeni Revolution The armed forces of Yemen includes the Yemen Army. A major reorganization of the armed forces continues. The unified air forces and air defenses are now under one command. The Navy is concentrated in Aden. The Yemen Arab Republic and the People's Democratic Republic of Yemen joined to form the Republic of Yemen on May 22, 1990. The Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces is Field Marshal Abdrabbu Mansur Hadi. The internationally recognized President of Yemen as well as Mahdi al-Mashat, the President of the Supreme Political Council. The number of military personnel in Yemen is relatively high. In sum, Yemen has the second largest military force on the Arabian Peninsula after Saudi Arabia. In 2012, total active troops were estimated as follows. Army, 66,700, Navy, 7,000, and Air Force, 5,000. In September 2007, the government announced the reinstatement of compulsory military service. Yemen's defense budget, which in 2006 represented approximately 40% of the total government budget, is expected to remain high for the near term, as the military draft takes effect and internal security threats continue to escalate. Yemen used child soldiers between 2001 and 2004. Child soldiers were also used by organized forces and tribal militia as of 2011. Since the 2015 civil war, the armed forces have been divided between loyalists of the former President Ali Abdullah Saleh and pro-government forces of President Abdrabbu Mansur Hadi. The origins of the modern-day Yemeni military can be traced back to the late 19th century when Turks began recruiting tribal levies to create 4 battalions of gendarmerie and 3 cavalry regiments. In 1906, the Italians recruited thousands of Yemenis and gave them military training in their colony of Somalia before sending them to Libya to fight the Senussi insurgency of 1911. Aware of the gains made by the Hashemites in the course of the Arab Revolt, a combination of these forces, all of which held strong ties to various local tribes, rebelled against the Ottoman rule in Yemen during the First World War. Although nowhere near as famous as the uprising involving Thomas A. Lawrence of Arabia, the Yemen revolt led to the withdrawal of the Turkish military. After officially declaring independence from the Ottomans in 1918, Yemen was only internationally recognized in 1926. By that time, Imam Yahya kept a cadre of 300 Ottoman officers and soldiers to train his army, which, while remaining an outgrowth of the tribal levies that functioned as little more than a palace guard, was officially organized as follows. Special Imamate Guard, nominally a 5,000-strong unit of specially selected combatants named UKFA, considered absolutely loyal to the monarch. The Outback Army. This up to 50,000-strong force consisted of Zaidi tribesmen, infantry and cavalry, that served for 1 or 2 years, but brought their own rifles and provisions. The Al Army, established in 1919. This consisted of several groups of tribal levies. Each tribe included a retainer who reported on the behavior, awards, and misdeeds of members of his tribe. If a member of the tribal levy stole or left without permission, the retainer and tribal chief compensated the Imam for the loss. The Defensive Army, established in 1936. This was a draft of all able-bodied men, including urban Yemenis, capable of bearing arms and given 6 months of military training, with all members of the Defensive Army receiving periodic training for 10 years after their draft. This became a form of a reserve army. During the early 1920s, an ammunition factory was constructed in Sana'a by a Yugoslavian and an Australian. After his army performed dismally in fierce clashes with the British and a war against the rapidly expanding Saudis, the Imam saw the need to modernize and expand the armed forces, eventually purchasing from Italy 6 tanks, 2,000 rifles, 4 anti-aircraft artillery pieces and some communications gear. while Iraq provided additional rifles and communications equipment. Italy also opened a flight school in Sana'a. In 1954, Imam Ahmad also established military cooperation with Egypt. And Cairo donated a total of 4 cannons, 6 heavy machine guns, 12 light machine guns and 20 rifles to Sana'a, deploying 4 Egyptian army officers to serve as instructors. When the Republican government took power in a coup, much of the stability and any remaining professionalism in the army was destroyed. The new government had to build a new army to fight the royalist insurgents. First training centers and recruitment officers were established in every province. The Egyptians played a remarkable role in the process of building a modern national army through serving as advisors and giving Yemeni officers the chance